So, welcome back, guys. It's Streaming Sunday, that time of the month. We have a few things to cover off today. Last week's was a bit short. It was just a call to action. Gotta sneeze. It's gone away. Anyway, so last week's call to action. Still waiting on a bunch of responses. It's not something that's going to be done overnight, obviously. As well as I just want to do another quick call out, which I'll probably reiterate a little later on as well, to the streaming media server. So if you guys have any ideas for that, there is a couple of online resources for that I believe go around WebRTC, the app spot, I believe it is. apprtc.appspot.com. I'll put the link in the doobly-doo underneath as well for you guys to see. Essentially, I'm looking for methods of seeing if we can get an HTML5 pure streaming Sunday, or a pure method of streaming to you guys. So I'm working on my own thing, but I'm seriously wanting to see what the group pulls out, right? It's all about the learning, all about the engagement. So let's see if we can build something together. Check out what they've done. Again, the link is apprtc.appspot.com. Take a look at the source code for that. Try it out. Multiple computers that have WebRTC enabled browsers, potentially including a phone that I don't actually have in here. I'm borrowing the BlackBerry 10 Z10 from Rogers at the moment. So thank you to them, the social team at Rogers. Borrowing that to do a couple tests for the browsers over the next couple of weeks. I want to run it through its paces, see what it can do, see what it can't do, see what all of the benchmarks end up putting it out to. I will be doing the same for the Android browser, both the native one and Chrome, as well as Safari on mobile devices and the Chrome on the iOS devices as well. And then once I get my hands on a Windows phone, I'll be able to put IE through its paces as well. So I'll be able to get hopefully an article or two out of that to say, here's personal opinion on the browser compatibility, browser capabilities, and just so much even down to, here's what it can support, here's what it can't do just yet. And if you're going to be developing web applications and mobile applications, try using this, or avoid this, or potentially this is a problem. So it's something that I'm looking to do. If you're interested in writing articles and writing blog posts for HTML Toronto, reach out to me. I'm always looking for people that want to do this. There are a few other co-authors that are in the site at the moment. They're working on articles that they had worked on the hackathon last year. We're going to be updating some of those. We've got some guest bloggers coming in, doing some stuff, so that'll be good. We're hoping to have a lot more content in the coming weeks. I know it's been lacked recently, but I've been trying to do the streaming Sundays. Also been working with several of the groups to do, potentially working with them for some streaming for them as well. Which brings me, I guess, up to our first point of the day. I just wanted to give you guys a heads up. This week, there is an event coming up on Tuesday. That's the Web Accessibility guys, or the Toronto Accessibility and Inclusive Design guys. This is led by George and Jennison of basically Toronto developers here. That what they're doing is having or hosting Laura Wellesley and Nick Schoening from, I hope I'm pronouncing that name right, Schoening, anyway, about the Web Experience Toolkit, which is essentially what the Government of Canada is doing for its next generation of web platform. What's really, really interesting, I was able to go to Ottawa, I was in Ottawa a couple of weeks ago to do some accessibility training or Acrobat training for one of the companies that I teach for or train for. And while I was there, I had the great opportunity to head into not the Parliament office, but to the Treasury Board, who runs the website of Canada. In there, I met with Laura, and we ended up talking. You'll notice that there's a GitHub project, the wet-bo. Well, anyway, Bo. What this is it's essentially a GitHub repo of what Canada's doing for their next generation of web. You can go in there, you can contribute, you can interact, you can engage, find bugs, You can also propose different things to have in there, structure, compatibility, both in JavaScript and markup. So if you do want to go in and see what Canada is doing on a whole and what community drivers are doing on a whole for Canada's next government website, like Canada.com type thing, go in. You have access to that, and that's through here. And what they're going to be doing, back there, forward. What they're going to be doing is they're going to be talking about that during this event. Now, I believe the event is sold out, so there's only a waiting list. There's nobody on the waiting list right now. You can join the waiting list, or I will also be streaming that online if I can make sure that we have the bandwidth for it. Now, it's Tuesday, 6 o'clock. There's no charge. It's right downtown. More than welcome to come on out. Cool. So that's that. Next thing that's coming up this week is the Toronto Space Apps. If you're not involved with this, if you don't know about this, or you probably been living under a rock, essentially NASA, or in partnership with NASA, there's a bunch of companies and a bunch of groups that are actually working on having a hackathon located at the ROM starting on Friday. So Friday, April 19th, starting at 6 p.m. And then going through Sunday, there's going to be a hackathon that's happening there where NASA has put down these challenges for you to go and hack towards. Build a team, hack towards. And here's the criteria for that. If you're not part of this, look into this. This is seriously really cool stuff. There was a pre-event that happened last Friday, a bunch of great people coming out, a bunch of really good people involved with this. Really, really, really interested. I will be absolutely heading out to this event. Myself, I'm not hacking along with anybody because I'm likely going to be interacting and helping out with setup, coordination, as well. On Sunday, FITC Toronto is happening, so I'll be also helping and coordinating with that and seeing what I can do to assist those guys as well. That's starting on Sunday. It goes on Monday and Tuesday as well. So again, great thing there. And one of the things that they just launched, they just introduced, was a Spotlight hardware. So if you're developers that not just web, you're looking at hardware, they do have a hardware thing that's coming up in June as well. Cool. So that's all the events and the announcements and etc. There's two things I wanted to discuss in this Sunday stream, really. But before I get into that, I want to give a big, thank you, big thank you to the three sponsors of the HTML Toronto group. Owanda, our H2 level sponsor, does a great job. This is our last month with Owanda. So I'm going to say, if you have the moment, please, please, please go out, tweet them, say thank you for supporting the HTML5 _ Toronto developer group. They really, really did help a lot, being able to help us get the setup for what we're doing for the platform, what we're doing for the streaming online, the community engagement. It was really, truly thanks to them. So if you can give them a thanks on Twitter or Facebook or however you want to, it would really mean a lot. So thank you. Second people is H3 level sponsors. Is Kendo UI. Just coming on. This is their first month. We have a lot of stuff planned because of this sponsorship coming on. I can't talk too much about it. Just know that I've been in talks with a bunch of people. And May looks to be really, really good. So final person is Web.War, helping out. We just finished an event. Look for the videos online. And we have a bunch of stuff that's been posted. I do have a file of the whole event that I'm going to be editing down to just the fun parts and also the competition at the end. I do see that we do have somebody in the chat at the moment who is saying, "Hey Matt, has the winner of the FITC?" Yes, yes, he has. He is actually a regular at the events as well. He did win, which actually, funnily enough, and you guys all saw how random it was. He works for Owanda, so no conflict of interest because it's the code that I used was there, and it was definitely a large area. But he had definitely been. He was one of the people who was from Owanda that had won. So I was kind of scared at one point. I'm like, is this conflict of interest? But again, went over the code. Nope. Thankfully, oh my God, saved myself. So yes, the ticket had been won. I believe there's going to be one more ticket giveaway before the end or before FITC happens. So do pay close attention to do pay close attention to the social streams. You're probably going to see something in the newsletter this week. I believe if you are in a subscriber for the newsletter, look out. I will be looking into seeing if there is one more ticket to give away prior to FITC Toronto. If you aren't a winner or if you don't have a ticket yet, we do have discount codes. We do have a 15% off at HTML5 TO, all one word, 15% off. And if you don't get into the top 30 of that one, then we do have HTML5 as a 10% discount code for the group. So, awesome. With that being said, the big news thing of the day is, or this week, I guess, in my opinion, aside from the whole Bitcoin thing, which really isn't this group, is this Google essentially, and I pulled up probably the absolute worst article I could for this, is Google is pulling out of the WebKit development with Apple. So this is a very, very big piece of news. What's ending up happening is Google is essentially taking a branch from WebKit and going to develop it on its own, and it's going to be called Blink. This is going into all the future browsers. This is going to all of the different versions of what Chrome is doing. I mean, Chromium and Chromium OS are going to be doing their own thing, and it's going to be called Blink, based on WebKit, very loosely. Safari, however, has essentially said, or Apple has said, okay, since they're not coming in, what we're going to be doing is we're going to say, what are we not implementing into this? And they're going to be taking things out of Chrome, or at least the WebKit build. Those haven't been decided on what they will be yet. However, there is articles and content that I've read online where it has said that the developer blogs and whatnot have said, we're going to be looking at anything that has an unnamed contributor to it, which does include a lot of things, and removing those ones. Because if Apple's not developing for that and Apple's not progressing with that, then there's absolutely no reason for Apple to continue doing that until it's ready to develop that. So there is a strong chance things like WebRTC, some of the CSS transitions and 3D may be pulled out of there. Other things that are going to be interesting is things may be left in, or things may not be functioning the same way as you'd expect them to because of the way that Apple's done some of the CSS3 structures and how they're using gradients, for instance. There's different things that are very interesting. And then Opera, obviously, with the news recently that I think one of the first streams that we did, Opera wanting to migrate to WebKit, this really impacts them, because if they're going to be using WebKit and Google just pulled it out and is doing its own thing based on it, what's Opera going to do? So it's kind of this limbo area. So what are your thoughts on this? How will this affect you? Do you think that without Google backing it, is WebKit something that's going to fall out of disarray? Is it going to be falling apart, not going anywhere? Apple, at least for the browser side, is drastically losing market share because they don't have a PC version anymore. With the Windows version of Safari, you really have to hunt around in order to find. And they're not developing it further. So the only thing that we've really seen is essentially every time there's a new operating system update on a once-a-year basis, Apple releases a new version of Safari, and then maybe one or two throughout the year. So it's really interesting to see this type of thing happen when companies like Opera decide to migrate to it. I believe Opera has said that they're going to be doing or looking at a version of Chromium to do their development or to do their future development. But it will likely impact most people. So will it impact you? And how so? Do you currently develop for Safari? Because there are certain things that are different in Safari than in Chrome and other WebKit-based browsers. So are you taking those into account when you're building this? Not just iOS as well. It's the desktop browser version as well. And do you even open it on a regular basis? I personally can't even tell you the last time I opened it. Oh, scratch that. I do have a tool that I use for viewing live video streams. So I've got like 4 different video streams up that are all HTML5 MU38 files, Al Jazeera, NHK, BBC News, and twit.tv. Thank you, Leo Laporte. And that is running through Safari, and I need to run that because no other browser does M3U8 streaming through the video tag. So it's the only reason I really use it, because it's the one that does it. So, which is another reason that I want to see what people can do with WebRTC and live video feeds. So get on that one too. Next thing I wanted to bring up, and the next thing I wanted to talk about. So a bunch of you probably know Frédéderic Harper he's from Microsoft. He's run a few events. He's also from Montreal, so don't hold either of those two things against him. But he has a blog. That's his own personal blog called Out of Comfort Zone. I've got a subscription to. I subscribe to it on a regular basis. Every time he posts something, I get a notification through Chrome, and I instantly go read it. I try to make comments wherever it's applicable. It's probably one of the blogs that I keep up to date with the most and interact with the most. On April 8th, he has done basically a call out to the developer community and his followers and whatnot. That is essentially like a mini challenge thing, similar to what I've been doing with hey, here's a challenge, go do it. Here's a beginning code, go do it. He's looking at doing the same thing. And he's deliberately saying in here, and again, I want to make sure that I'm reiterating this. This is purely because he's worked in the past with the Montreal HTML developer group. He was a member of that, one of the organizing members. I think he's not doing the organizing of it anymore, but he's still involved with it. But he's wanting to get out there and, again, work with the communities and whatnot completely on his own. No attachments to anybody, no nothing, similar to what this group is as well. So he's doing challenges. I'd strongly recommend going out there. So it's outofcomfortzone.net, and he has a post on there for the April 8th. I'll have a link to it in the comments below. But go check it out, voice your opinion, see if you'd like to do this. It's not like it's a cost thing to do. It's more of here's a topic, here's something to do, here's a challenge, go do it, return and talk about it. So really good thing, similar to what we're doing, and potentially something that you might want to do as well. So cool. That's pretty much it for today's Streaming Sunday. Not much else that I wanted to really bring up. It was really only those two things. The Google was doing this with what obviously Paul Thurrott had said. Google stabs WebKit in the back. Great article, Paul. That's pretty much an attention grabber altogether there. Anyway, so with that said, I'm going to say for you guys for next week, send me some more topics. Send me what you want to hear about. I will be on Sunday, likely at Space Apps Toronto. If I can get the bandwidth there, I will see if I can do interviews over LTE on my phone. This way I can see if I can do, hey, how'd you like Space Apps Toronto, and how do you do this? And then I'll likely jump over to FITC, and I will be trying to get some of the speakers there to give some interviews. So over the next week, I have a challenge for you. Come up with some good questions to ask some of the presenters at FITC Toronto 2013. In fact, this could be the challenge that happens on Tuesday when that newsletter comes out, by the way. I will see if I can do an interview with 1, 2, or even more of the presenters for FITC Toronto, and I will be asking you guys right now for questions to ask them. Not an AMA, and by all means, they will be vetted very, very heavily if they're inappropriate or whatever. But this is your chance to ask whoever you want to ask the questions that you might have. So anyway, thanks a lot, guys. And remember, if you do have any other things that you want to bring up, any conversations, you can always tweet me, HTML5_Toronto, or any of the different social media links at htmltoronto.ca. Thanks, and have a great week.